had as many automatons as we could construct without risking the outpost team in Tesla City. And the coal production, along with the food production, was increasing. But I had questions whether or not it would be enough before the storm hit our city. The temperature decreased, so we could at least afford to have the generator on a lower setting, and riots were provoked due to a theft of food. Guards would need to supervise the cooks from now on to discourage additional thefts.
Let's march to work.
There was still much to do. Tesla City might be beyond our reach, but at least the outpost team would survive. I've had my fair share of storms. And I can tell you, they've claimed the lives of, well, let's just say more than one under my command. Kind of people that didn't even bother to hide the fact that they felt that they had nothing to lose. There was at least enough space for resource depots near the charcoal kilns to the southwest. Although I had my suspicions that I would need much more, both in hunters' hangars and charcoal kilns. The third and final, at least as far as I was aware this time, automaton was being constructed. Oh yes, the jagged rocks had some supplies. An underground facility, now in ruins, with some useful technology, specifically in blueprints. There was something to the south which was of interest. Something worth investigating, despite the storm coming from that direction. Construction was slow, although it was at least outpacing what was coming in. Yes, the foremans needed to motivate the workers in the industrial hothouses. Oh yes, the engineers as well. They needed to do their part as well. Yes. I could only think of one reason for why someone would be willing to risk their lives that easily. Or rather, that willingly. Because they had no one back home. No family. No one they felt particularly close to. Now that the coal thumpers were capable of extracting more, I had the workshops research more expansive steam hubs. Mostly because if they could do that, they could also figure out how to make them more efficient when it comes to fuel consumption. And there were a lot of them. The outpost team was disbanded, and the outpost depot that they used dismantled. We would have no more use of it. At least until the storm had passed. Yes, the obvious choice was between food rations and coal when it came to the resource depots, because that's what needs to be stored. Well, it certainly needed to be stored at this point. Yes, the foremans were needed in workshops to motivate them. Although not through terror, I might add. And not just because history hasn't really proven that it works on a larger scale. In fact, it's brought disaster whenever it's practiced. Oh yes, and I must remember, I was thinking at the time, to make sure that the steam hubs are not automatically set to the higher range, as apparently the heat zones do not overlap. At this point, there wasn't a problem with starvation. The problem was having enough to get through the more lean times. When we couldn't get out of the city to gather food, or grow it in specialized buildings. As for what to research next, the choice is obvious. More fuel-efficient steam hubs. There were quite a few of them. I will say that much. Mostly because we needed the heat in areas outside the range of the generator. Well, I could have expanded the generator's range, but oh yes, the deep hollow. That had more survivors. injured survivors. We would need to bring them to our city in order to have their injuries treated. Thankfully, all the medical facilities were vacant.
Work day is up. Return your call.
A note was left by Nansen and his co-workers. Apparently the expected cold was hard to predict below any temperature ever recorded on Earth. Gale Force 10. After which the climate would improve slowly. They moved towards that apocalyptic storm to confirm their predictions. At least their technology would prove useful. Well, I highly doubted that they would be able to use it anymore, seeing as Nansen wasn't with them. With the refugees that arrived here. Along with those that we were bringing here. Another wood pile was depleted, which meant there was more space to build whatever was needed. Another hunter's hangar would be nice, I thought at that time. Another hunter's hangar would mean more food. And we could use more of that. A lot more of that. Many of the people were starting to pray. I didn't stop them from doing so. It didn't cause any disruption to the workday. And then there was another troublemaker. Another group of drunk troublemakers decided that they should be sent home to sober up, as banishing them from the city would be a death sentence. And we'd be having none of that here. Yes, the automatons in the workhouse. I mean the cookhouse. There'd be no workhouses here. I don't know why I said that. It would be needed in order to facilitate more food rations. according to the projections, there would be 2 drops of temperature before the storm hit us. At this point, I was seriously considering having another cookhouse built. Because the amount of raw food to be prepared was starting to get a little overwhelming. It would be easier to stockpile on fuel if the steam hubs in the generator used less of it. Yes, that was my top priority as far as research was concerned. Scouts arrived with all the refugees in Frostland. Well, all that remained, anyway. At this point, I doubted that we'd be able to send them back into the frigid wastes. Not without risking their lives, anyway. I decided on the best course of action after assigning a foreman in different facilities. Cookhouses could use them. And we're going to use... sorry. Started to get a little incomprehensible there. We could certainly use more storage. The rest of the survivors were quite gravely ill, although that was nothing a stay in the infirmaries couldn't fix. at least I thought in that manner, that they would be restored to good health by the time the storm hits. We would need to be. Because if we get this wrong, yes, that force wasn't far from my mind. Because if we got this wrong, it wouldn't matter who was in charge. Due to the simple facts that we'd all be dead. Either due to the frost, or due to us turning on each other. Hubris has caused many a disaster. As for where to have another cookhouse built, there was nowhere where it could fit. At least nowhere within the heat zones. The solution to that, well, clear some space, and then have one built. Yes, I would rather not have the frozen trees destroyed, unless I had to. As for the fuel efficiency of the steam hubs, well, that has improved greatly. Well, certainly once the scout party that had come back had been disbanded. With the steam hubs now more fuel efficient, the generator would be next. After that, either insulation, more efficient automatons, or better charcoal kilns.